We are so excited to have you here today, and we wanted to start these social hours off by welcoming President Lentini so he can give you a welcome. And then we also have our Vice President for Mission, Kathy Macenti, as well as Michelle Martin from Campus Ministries, and they'll be chatting with us a little bit after the president. So thank you, Jim, for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thanks so much, Noelle. And now I was going to say good to see everyone, but so many have their faces hidden. I'm going to ask if some of you wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing what you look like. So I won't force you. But if you, hi, how you doing? I see Levi and Alexander and Mario and Joseph, Kara. They're coming on. Okay, thanks everyone. I appreciate that. You can turn them off after I talk. No, I'm just kidding. But it's. All right, so Noelle, remind me now. Are we looking at all freshman students here, all new students? Or,
Yeah,
yes.
first year. I mean, we've invited the instructors as well, so you might have some of our instructors on here too.
That's so awesome. So I'm really thrilled to see you all, and I'd love to do this in person too. So if we get a chance to come back around in smaller groups or something, I'd love to meet you all in person. Out here on campus. So I can't tell you how delighted I am to have you. I think you probably might have heard this about this year, but it is the largest freshman class, largest first year class we've ever had at Molloy in our whole history. So we're glad to have you as part of that august group. And it's exciting for the institution as well, because as a lot of you have dealt with for the last 2 years, they haven't been quite as normal as we want them to be with all the challenges we've faced. So this year to me as well, because I'm starting my third year here as president, my first two were pandemic years, I guess I would say. And so this feels great, being able to have a lot of meetings that I haven't been able to have before. So I hope you're all off to a great start, and that you're enjoying your classes, and if you're living on campus or however you're getting to campus, that it's all working out well for you, that you found your way to some out-of-class experiences at Molloy as well, whether that be a club you might join or just people you're meeting. Hope you're getting to know your professors. I know it hasn't been that long yet, but I know that that's one of our distinguishing features, really, is I think the kind of mentorship and care you'll get from the faculty here. So avail yourselves of that. All right, so let me just say this too. One of the joys of this job for me is to interact with students. So when you'll see some opportunities like this one, but there will be others that Molloy Student Government runs for meetings with me. We did some of those in person last year. Please, if you can, come to those meetings, and oftentimes those are chances for me to give you updates on what's new on campus and new for all of us, what we're thinking about as an institution. And I like to hear from you, and I like to hear from student government as to those kinds of things that students are interested in or concerned about, so that we can take that into consideration when we're thinking of the present and future for us. So we had something when we first started, at the day before classes, called Community Day. And we have faculty and staff and people come together, and we were able that day to outline some of the major things going on at the institution. I'm just going to share a few of those kinds of ideas with you. One of those things has been, looking at enrollment patterns, and you can actually, I think, just raise your hand physically, and I'll see if you are. Any of you in your first year, do any of you have an online class of any kind? Is anybody doing anything online? Everything's in person for you? Okay, looks like mostly in person. Somebody has an online. Okay, so we're looking at what is the best mix of course delivery. Certainly, undergraduates are mostly going to have in-person courses, but that enrollment pattern for us also is connected to the kind of academic programs we're delivering. So we're looking at expanding some of the majors that we will provide over time here at Molloy, and that's one of our big initiatives. So we talked about that a little bit. We talked about the kinds of programs we might have. I mean, our nursing program is a big one. Biology is a big program. We have a growing business area and those kinds of things. So we're trying to look at those programs that are in high demand in our area and try to add some of those to Molloy now that we are a university. So let me talk about that a little bit. Most of you, maybe when you were thinking of coming here, know us as Molloy College, right? So this change happened recently. It was official as of June 1st of 2022, not too long ago, that we became a university. And I have been asked many times, so what does that mean? So here's what it means. First of all, universities are typically thought of as places that have a mix of undergraduate programs, which we do, of course, and a robust set of graduate programs, which we do. So over the years, in Molloy when it started back in 1955, was only undergraduate. And over time it grew a bunch of, several master's programs and even some PhDs now, to the point where in any other state in the country, as of the last, I'd say probably 10 years, we would have been called a university. Let's say we're roughly 5,000 students, about 1,500 of those are graduate students. So we have lots of master's programs, these PhD programs. So the state of New York was hanging on to language that had a prescription for university status, which meant you had to have certain PhDs in certain areas, and we were going to have that anyway. But the fact is, New York got rid of this stipulation and allowed us to be called what we should be, which is a university. So that's the simple explanation. We already were really a definition of a university, and now we are one. But I'm also looking to the future and what it can mean for us. Do we want to do more research on campus? What does it mean for faculty teaching and creative work? What does it mean for students and student research with faculty members and things like that? So that's an exciting time for us, and it will also allow us to do things like think about recruiting international students, recruiting students potentially from other states who want specific programs. Molloy as a university, I think its reach will expand, so that's one of the things we're talking about. The other thing that we talked about in community data I want to talk to you about is we are in the midst of something important right now. It's a new strategic plan for the institution, which will allow you, by the way, students, to have a voice in the kind of things we are doing going forward. I don't know if we can put that up on the screen, who has the PowerPoint now, but it's just one page, just one slide of strategic plan priorities. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to read through these quickly, and I'll tell you, let me explain first. So last year, before you arrived here as new students, we were working on beginning a new strategic plan. And is Jessica Avery on the line? I don't know if Jessica's here, but I think Jessica is on the strategic planning committee, who's also your president of Molloy Student Government. And she's had some input on this. And what happened was the whole campus had a conversation, and multiple smaller conversations too, about what should be our strategic plan priorities. And through a lot of work through the whole year last year, and then going all the way through what's called campus governance, and then up to our board of trustees who have the ultimate authority, these were the 7 approved strategic plan priorities, which are, not necessarily in rank order, building our university community and creating a pervasive culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion, fostering academic advancement through innovative research, creative activity, scholarship, and teaching, implementing new and adaptable approaches to enrollment, recruitment, and retention, ensuring financial health while achieving sustainable growth, cultivating an institution-wide commitment to purposefully utilizing data-informed assessment for continuous improvement, engaging undergraduate and graduate students in holistic co-curricular and extracurricular experiences, and enhancing our facilities and technology to improve the student and employee experience. So those are the 7 priorities, which took a lot of work to get to, but even harder work now to fill all this in. So we're going to take each one of these priorities now, and the work for the committee and the whole campus is, what does it mean to build a university community and create a pervasive culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion? What are the goals? What are the strategies? and what are the tactics we're going to put in place to achieve that. And how are we going to know we're being successful? We'll do that with something called key performance indicators. So, this is going to take a lot of our time this year. In addition to the fact that it's an important exercise, as we are, every campus like Molloy, and students will become involved in this as well, is we are becoming reaccredited. There's something called the Middle States Association that does accreditation of institutions every 10 years. So they come in and they look at our mission, and they look at what we're doing as a campus, and they look at student outcomes, and they look at all kinds of things, and decide whether or not we're meeting the goals that we should be, and they will reaccredit us. And that with this process, we're having somebody from Middle States is coming to visit us in October. They'll probably talk to some students then. Noel, we might want to pull together some of the people in this group, in fact, to participate, or at least we'll offer the opportunity to participate in those discussions. And then in March, Middle States will come with a visiting team, and they'll talk to students, faculty, staff, alumni, and do a lot of interviews about our campus, and then make a critical decision on a reaccreditation for us. So Middle States is another important thing for us this year. So I'm happy as you look at all those priorities. Why don't you think of a question or two, because I would love it if you asked me a question or two before I hand it over to Kathy. But also, I'll give you some other of my just personal thoughts about this campus and about students on this campus. I very much have been a student-centered leader in my life. What we do here as a campus is for the benefit of your educational experience, but also your outside of the classroom experience. It's all education, whether you're in the classroom or you're interacting with people on the campus here in the public square, wherever you might be. So it's important to me to hear from students as to what we can do to always make the experience better for you. I like to do things with students. If you are involved in a student group or you have ideas, invite me to things. I like to come to them and talk to you or participate with you. My background is one where I got a doctorate in music and became a music professor for several years before I started into administration. So I'm a composer. I've written for classical things, but I grew up playing all kinds of pop and rock and those kinds of things too. And I like to perform all kinds of music, sometimes with students. So I think what I love about Molloy is the size is such that we can see each other, we can do things together, we can do fun things together, and that's my goal for all of us. So maybe I'll kind of stop right there for a moment. Maybe I should say one other thing. I want to, especially since you're new to campus and you're still probably maybe some of you getting your footing. If there's anything concerning you, whether that be part of what's happening, in your classes, or something you need help with, or anything else, please tell us. That's why we're all here for you. The faculty are here for you. The staff is here for you. We're all here for you, and we'll make sure that you can have the best entryway into a new life here for you as we can. So I want to make sure that you stay in touch with us. So any questions about anything I said, or maybe something I actually didn't say that anyone would have? And somebody smart here can help me on how we're going to field a question or two, if you can either see people asking or if it's in the chat or whatever it might be. Anyone?
Feel free to unmute if you have a question.
Yeah, you can just speak if you like. All right, try this. Tell me one thing you've liked so far about your experience here. Anyone?
The professors are very understanding and very nice and very helpful.
Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate that. Echoes what I know about the place. I think I see it. Well, I thought I saw a hand up. Matthew, are you trying to ask a question? I think.
Yes. like she said, like Nicole said, the professors are understanding if like say a student would be falling behind or she or he can't get something online with like I did. I was having problems like getting disengaged with the teachers. They were patient, they were understandable, and that yeah. So
Great. That's super.
and I just feel like can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I just feel like I think as the weeks go on, it'll take me some time to just get used to like my schedule so I can manage my time wisely. Because like honestly, this is nothing like high school at all. I feel like in high school I wouldn't be having this type of I don't want to say problem, but just new adjustment. So there
Yeah.
you have that.
Thanks for sharing that. I bet you a lot of your peers on the line are having that same experience. You know,
Yeah,
especially being new to college, being new to university. It is different than high school. Very different.
way different.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate
No
that.
problem.
All right, I see. All right, I see some things in the chat. I appreciate it, everybody. Get to be more independent. In some ways, work at a pace I'm comfortable with. And Matthew, I think that is one of the things, isn't it? It's kind of like, all right, where before maybe high school is a little more, I don't know, structured in a different way. But here, it's you. It's up to you to structure that time and make sure that you can find the study time and that you're, getting things done the way you need to. I see the environment is welcoming and culture so warm. Thank you for that, Crystal. Yep, what I said about the professors, that's been my experience too. I see that from Mario. Free food. Free food. Wow, I got to go where you're going. Who's getting free food? Caitlin. Thanks, Caitlin. That's a good deal. And Laura is saying something about many events, and I hope you are. I'm sure we have a mixture here of a lot of commuter students and some living on campus. But the other thing I've been unique to me, because I've been to other institutions before being president here, even the people who have to commute here are still very, very engaged in the campus life often. So that's been great. I probably won't get to read everyone's, but I enjoy having the opportunity to stay in the library during gaps between classes. That's great. Thank you. I like the foam bubble pit. I missed that. Darn it. All right. Was it good? Sounds like it. And there are lots more coming in, so thanks, everyone. I asked for the positives, and if there are any suggestions you have, I think, we're open to those too. So as you're I know, again, we're here to help for any suggestions you have for us on how to make things better. So thanks for sharing. We're thrilled again to have you here. Hey Noel, have we, like in the past? So we do this event. Have we done this on campus before too? I mean, in person.
We used to do a coffee hour, but the attendance was very low. So
Okay.
we've had better online attendance, but we do get you for opening convocation.
Okay.
And I would love to do this event on campus. We just need the space to do it.
All right. Yeah, it's hard to fit this many people in one space for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks everyone. I hope to get to shake your hand out on the lawn somewhere or wherever on campus. And if I didn't talk about something, Noel, or any other things you'd want me to touch on, I'd be happy to do that. But as I'm even just saying that, I mean, one of the things I wasn't able to do my first 2 years as much as I'm able to do now, and it's so much fun. Get to the performances in the Madison Theater, go to athletic events, just try it. Even if you're driving to campus, go to a soccer game, go to a basketball game when they start. I mean, these are so fun and a great way to build community. So, it really helps you build the pride for Molloy, and hope you can do that. So, one of my vice presidents is no. I'll turn it back over to you because
Sure.
I'm on the agenda. Yeah, but thank you everyone, and
Thank
great
you.
to see you. You bet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the nice things that we're seeing as a recurrent theme here is the sense of community, which is really great because that's part of our mission, and lots of campus events and clubs. I did see bubbles flying around the campus on, was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. So there's lots of fun things going on campus, especially as first year students. It's really important to become involved. It's as much the academics as it is the extracurricular. So with that being said, we do have Kathy joining us from our mission, as well as Michelle from Campus Ministries, and they will talk to you a little bit more.
Thank you, Noelle. It's good to see you all, even on Zoom. In fact, especially on Zoom, because Noelle is right. When can we all get together like this? I'm Kathy Musenti. I am Vice President for Mission and Ministry at Molloy. And Michelle and I work together very closely because Michelle is one of the campus ministers. You probably know Michelle better than you know me, because she has been at many of your events presenting to you. I know she's been to a couple of FST classes, but the two of us really want to talk to you about two initiatives under the umbrella of Mission that are very community focused, campus-wide focused, that we're involved in. And we would love for you as freshmen to take the opportunity. And again, I listened carefully. You know, you're trying to get a handle on your schedules. This is very different than high school. You're trying to figure out, you know, what you can possibly more you can fit in. But when you take that deep breath and there's something that you really want to get involved in, we really have some great opportunities. But we wanted your input on two things today. One is the college has the Siena Center for Social Justice. And, you know, one of the charges to the Siena Center is that we have an actively engaged community campus that is aware of and embraces our multiculturalism and the multifaceted aspects of our identity that each of us brings to the table. So we all come from different backgrounds, different schools, different faith traditions, but this is, you know, clearly part of who we are as a Catholic Dominican institution. And one of the initiatives that the advisory board to the Siena Center has undertaken is a heritage calendar, where we're trying to focus on many of the multicultural aspects of our community by celebrating the, you know, what it is that is important to you, our students and our colleagues, with their, you know, with their background, you know, whether that, you know, their ethnic background, their faith background, you know, the month of March is Women's Month, you know, the month of February is Black History Month. But we are in the midst of, you know, planning activities for the entire year. And Michelle has been immersed in that. She's on the Heritage Committee. And Michelle, I'm going to turn this over to you so that you can share, you know, the question we have for our group here.
Sure. Thank you, Kathy. So as Kathy said, we are looking at different heritage months. We are currently in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month. You might have stopped by our kickoff event yesterday where we were giving out Hispanic candy and quotes and crock charms. So we have a bunch of different events going on this month. One that is coming up in a week or so on September 26th is the Hispanic Heritage Month Lunch and Learn. So this is just an opportunity for students to hear from Hispanic students, faculty, employees, get to know each other, build community, and learn about the different Hispanic heritages that are out there, because that encompasses a lot of different countries and cultures in that. So I put that information in the chat for you if you're interested in that. But of course, going forward, as we go through the academic year, there will be more heritage months to celebrate. So we do have a working list of months and days that we are keeping track of here and that we're going to hope to incorporate. But we do want your input on what designated days and months do you celebrate, so that way we can really celebrate what our students represent. So I just put a link in the chat. I'm going to share my screen here and you will be able to tell us. So on the screen, you will see just a few of the days and months that we have celebrated in the past here at Molloy. So if you go on that link, you'll be able to vote for the ones that might have already been written that you celebrate, and you should be able to write in more like, a different month or day if there's something on this list that you do celebrate that we don't have yet. So we're just going to take a few minutes and let you look at it, add things, vote on things, just so we again can have a working list of what our students are looking to celebrate. And if you are writing something and it's not popping up on the screen, I do get the full list on my end when we're done. So don't be concerned. Awesome. I'm loving the feedback and how much support we're getting for some of these months here that I know that we're already planning on celebrating. So I'm excited to see how much you guys want to get involved in this. And as Kathy mentioned, this is a committee that does involve employees on campus, but it also does involve students on campus. So if any of you are interested in helping us plan the events that go into celebrating these Heritage Months, you are more than welcome to do so. And we really encourage you to do so. So you can always reach out to myself or Kathy to get involved, or as the months are coming up and we're starting to send out information, you can hop on then and get involved in any way that way. Right? Any questions or anything about the Heritage Months before we move on? No? Awesome. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Kathy, and I'll be back in a little.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for putting the poll together. And again, feel free, even if you weren't able to get on the poll and you wanted to say something, throw it into the chat. If there's a month that you didn't see listed that you think that we should think about having celebration for. So just, you don't have to do it today. You could always reach out to us, but we would love to have your input and to have you be involved, because it's a great way to celebrate who we are on campus, celebrate our differences, but also so often it's, we have so much in common. So this is our opportunity to be there for each other and support each other as a community. The other topic we want to talk about is called something that you don't hear very often, and it's called Laudato Si Action Plan. Laudato Si is an Italian word that means praise be to you. It actually was something that came from a quote from St. Francis of Assisi, who of course loved everything to do with the earth and the animals. And it was a call, a shout out by Pope Francis back in 2015 that we really had to start paying attention, which we still really have to do, to the problems of climate change and how that is affecting everyone on this one earth that we all share. So I wanted to share a PowerPoint just to give you a little bit of information about what this Laudato Si action plan is for Molloy College and what we hope to do in the next 7 years to make Molloy a more environmentally friendly, sustainable campus. So Liz, could I ask you to pull up the PowerPoint again and just go to the second? There you go. Thank you very much. So as I just mentioned, this is a 7-year journey. We actually signed on last year, so there's 6 years left. Dr. Cutter is a member of our Laudato Si Action Plan Committee, as is Michelle, who is with us today. So it's, as I said, the journey, it's action oriented. For 7 years, we were asked to sign on to this to really look at the goals that were included in the Laudato Si encyclical from Pope Francis, and how we as a community could meet those 7 goals over the next 6 years. So there is a very formal action platform that is worldwide. There are 600 universities across the United States that are participating in Laudato Si and building their own action plan. And we're at the point where we're trying to pull together information from everybody on campus, including you, our brand new students, our freshmen, to see, what areas of this Laudato Si plan or the goals that we're trying to reach, you might have suggestions on what we need to pay attention to. So the next slide. So this next slide shows you what the 7 goals are, and I hope you can see this, but the first one is a response to the cry of the earth and is a call to equitably address the climate change, biodiversity loss, and ecological sustainability. The next one is response to the cry of the poor, because if we're a global community together with each other, we have to pay special attention to the vulnerable populations, our indigenous communities, our refugees, our migrants, and our children. The third one is ecological economics, and it acknowledges that the economy is a subsystem of our human society, which is embedded within the biosphere, our common home. So we all hear about the level of poverty that has increased. We know that there are nations that can't feed themselves, that they need help, and that this climate change is affecting what little food they have. It also includes adoption of sustainable lifestyles. And this is really not just campus-wide, but this is for our Molloy family to take home to their families. That, it's grounded in the idea of sufficiency, living with enough and not excess to ensure a good life for all of us. The 5th is ecological education. As a higher ed institution and community, we need to rethink and redesign our curriculum and our institutional reform on the spirit of integral ecology to foster this awareness and also this call to action. It includes ecological spirituality, where it encourages greater contact and connecting with our natural world, the wonder of it, to praise it, find joy, happiness, and gratitude in protecting our earth. And then finally is the community engagement and our own participatory action. And it's crucial that if we all want to make a dent in these goals, that we all are doing it together and that we're sharing the message, not just on the Molloy campus, but in our larger communities we live in. So those are the 7 goals. The next slide just says, how does the university participate? Well, last October, President Lentini signed the letter that is mentioned at the bottom of this slide. The commitment is the following letter. So President Lentini signed that letter. It was a call for us to participate, and we jumped on it because as a mission-focused institution that cares about everything that's included in the 7 goals, we knew it was our responsibility to, work on this as a community for the next few years. The next slide. And in that letter, it asked us to commit to this journey and we now have the distinction of being the first cohort of Laudato Si universities. President Lentini, before you got here, but back in April, made a campus-wide announcement that we were working towards being a Laudato Si university. And this effort was launched a year ago almost on the Feast of St. Francis of Assisi. And the final slide, please. So this final slide is, the Pope has asked for this commitment. He has, been talking about this, as I said, since 2015. Molloy had a large symposium on this back in 2015, and we really now need to demonstrate our action steps. So you can stop the PowerPoint so we can get back to everybody. So we are looking for input. Michelle has put up together another poll that we're asking for your input on, just to get your thoughts on any of those goals. And I know I showed them to you really fast, but in one of the poll questions Michelle has, it reiterates the 7 goals on separate pages. We're going to give you a Jamboard at the end so that you can look at that. But in the meantime, we just want you to see if you would answer a couple of poll questions for us on this endeavor that we have, to see, what your experience has been in any of this goal setting that we're trying to do. Michelle, you want to take over?
Yeah, of course. So again, I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's the same link as before. We're going to go back to my poll here. So the first two questions that we have is just to get a gauge of what our students have already participated in for Laudato Si and environmental justice. So the first is just, have you ever participated in Earth Day programs? That's the main day that a lot of schools will celebrate or honor in honor of the environmental justice initiatives. So I'll give you a few seconds just to kind of look at that and respond. Awesome. So it seems like we're a little split on some have and some haven't. So that's really cool. Okay. Our next one is about what things that you might do at home. So do you recycle or compost at home? For those of you who don't know what composting is, that is taking organic material and turning it into soil to put it back into the earth. So you could save like old fruit or food waste. It'll decompose, we make soil out of it. Awesome. So a lot of us do recycle, which is awesome to hear and great to see. And our final question here on the poll is, what goals from the Laudato Si initiative have you already worked with? So have you interacted with the earth? So have you worked on a farm or done anything like that? Cry of the Poor could be anything from soup kitchens, shelters, food pantries, donating goods. If anyone has any questions on what the rest of these might look like, please feel free to put it in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask. Awesome. Thank you guys for your input. And we're hoping to take all of this information and put it back into the initiatives and the programs that we put into the Laudato Si initiative so that we can help you guys experience all of these goals that we have outlined here for us through this. So I'm going to stop sharing the poll
Thank you
for
for
right
that.
now. Yep.
So thank you all for participating in that. It was really great to see what you have been involved in before you got here. And we hope to see you involved in more. As I said, Michelle does have a Jamboard that we want to share, because back when we did launch the effort in April of this year, we had asked people on the campus to come over to the public square and fill out Post-it notes and with suggestions that could go under each of the 7 goals, so that we could take it back to the committee work that's going to be done and use those suggestions as a starting point of conversation to what people in our community see as something that we need to address, or that they think is, an action step that we can take. So the Jamboard is really asking you for that same input, because you didn't have that opportunity because you were not here in April. So you'll hear more about Laudato Si. I wanted you to really get comfortable with the word. It's not something we use all the time, but if it's something that you will hear an awful lot about during your tenure at Molloy as you work towards your graduation. And I am really excited because I just cannot wait to see how many action steps we've taken by the time you finish your degrees. It is almost, it's a little bit longer than you'll be here, but imagine the difference that we can make if we all work together on this. So I
think we lost Kathy.
Oh, no. It's okay. I'll pick it up and share the Jamboard. So I'm going to share the link to the Jamboard. I will share my screen just to show you how to use it if you have not used the Jamboard before. This is what it looks like when you click on the link. We have a separate page for each of the goals that we have, so you can flip around them. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to the left, if you can see my little cursor where it says sticky note, you click on the sticky note and then you can type anything you want. So in response to the cry of the poor, I'm gonna say volunteer at a soup kitchen, because I do that through the Office of Campus Ministries. So it's gonna make my little sticky note, and then you can just place it anywhere on the board. And again, you can flip back and forth. So I'll leave this link open for you. It'll stay open for a few minutes and you'll be able to access it even after we're done with this presentation. So, you could take the day or so to look at it, but we'll give you a few minutes and then I'm sure Dr. Cutter will want to give you any information that you need to know for coming up things for your first year experience.
Yeah, thank you. And I think while we're working on sticky notes too, if anyone has ideas on ways they can become involved in this, or even if Michelle or Kathy wants to talk about ways students can get involved and things that are already going on campus.
Yeah, sure. So students, like I said, can join either of these committees at any time. So the Heritage Month Committee or the Laudato Si Committee. And those committees work on the different initiatives. So some of our committee members for the Heritage Month calendars just work on a specific month that they're very passionate about. Some kind of have their hands in all of the various months. And Laudato Si as well. We have certain more specific subcommittees that are focusing on different initiatives around campus that students are welcome to participate in. And of course, when we talk about the environment and the earth, we are going to start going to our homecoming farm. So if students really want like an hands-on experience of working with nature and in that ecological justice, you're welcome to join us for those volunteer opportunities as well. Kathy, if you have anything to add.
Kathy, you need to unmute.
Oh, sorry, guys.
No problem.
I said I got kicked off. I don't know why, but I had a lovely conversation apparently with myself talking about how you can get involved. So, but Michelle, filled you in pretty well. But when you'll hear more about Laudato Si, I think is where I left off. And we will give shout outs to what committees are forming and what questions they're asking. They'll be doing, some brainstorming and some focus groups. So if you do have an interest in any of the 5 areas that we're breaking down on to look into these 7 goals, but we're going to do it by, thinking about 5 different areas of the campus. One is student initiatives, one is community engagement, one is on curriculum, another is on facilities, and the third is on, administration and organization of the institution. So I think a couple of those might be really appealing, and we're going to have those groups meeting, but there'll be subgroups on particular topics. So just keep your eyes and ears open. And again, if you are very, very interested in this, don't hesitate to let Michelle and I know, or Dr. Cutter, because she's involved also.
And if the students wanted to get in contact, maybe we can put the information in the chat so they have it available.
Sure.
Excellent, thank you. And we will share these resources with your FST instructors. So, so no worries about that. We'll get the information to you. And if you want to learn more, ask questions. That's the number one thing our first year students can do is ask questions. Just like we saw highlighted earlier, this is a community, and the community is all here to help you. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure you have the resources that you need, the ways to become involved, the academic support, the extracurricular support.
And if anybody has any questions now, Michelle and I are happy to answer them. If there's something that, we've said that, either we need to explain a little bit better, or that you wanted to share about your own experiences. I was very excited when I saw those polls of, the personal work that you've been doing and some community work that you've all been doing. Michelle, how's the Jamboard doing?
It's looking really good. We're getting great feedback on all of our goals. They're really populated with some great sticky notes. So
Good, excellent.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your input.
And I know sometimes the Jam board gets full, so just keep the link. And again, we can share that. We can share that with you after the meeting. So if you want to add things after the fact, it will be kept open.
And again,
know.
if you're having difficulty getting into the Jam board, as Noah, you just mentioned, then just throw it in the chat. We'll make sure that we get the copy of the chat so we don't miss anything.
I just had Michelle in the classroom with me, and one thing I know the students were very interested in was some of those service trips. So maybe we want to just briefly mention that. Another way to become involved.
Yeah, of course. So starting in October, we start our weekly volunteer programs for students. So those are our local initiatives. Once a week, we'll go to either a soup kitchen, food pantry, organic farm, a shelter for women and children, or we'll also go on midnight runs. So that's delivering food and clothing into New York City. On top of that, we have our Service Corps, which is our student-led service initiative. So they will also be creating service projects and partnerships that will get added into that service calendar. So those are kind of our weekly local projects. We do have some long-term service trips that run from either a week to 10 days. And we go to El Salvador, Puerto Rico, and West Virginia. Those run during the winter, spring, and summer breaks. So if you're interested in any of those, you can let us know, and we will give you the information for those trips. I do know that they will be looking for students going to the Puerto Rico one because that's coming up in spring break soon. So keep your eyes and ears ready to hear that information. So, and all of this, you can sign up for all of our events on life.molloy.edu. You just go under campus ministries, and all of our volunteer opportunities will be up there for you to sign up and RSVP.
And also any activities for our heritage calendar will be on Cork, as well as some of these initiatives, correct, Michelle? So they can always look at what's coming up the week.
Yes, those will be under the Sienna Center as well. So both organizations you can look up on life.molloy.edu.
All right.
So we
Thank you.
are happy to take questions, comments, whether it's related to today's talk or not. We're happy. This is the check-in time. So check in with us. There's a number of the FST instructors that I see who are joining this talk today. So whether myself or any of those instructors want to add to the conversation, we always welcome that. Feel free to unmute or throw your question into the chat for us.
I really liked the polls. Hi, everyone. This is Keisha Chan. I really like the polls and the Jam board, the incorporation of that. So thank you for making it engaging.
That's great feedback. Thanks. I agree. And I love the fact that the Jam board you can add to after the fact too. So I think that that's a good tool to kind of bring back to the committee that's going to be working on it as well. The student voice is so important. So get involved, share your thoughts. That's really important. You really contribute to this community as much as you've had a wonderful welcome here from everybody on campus. Your voice is part of that community.
I think there was a question about club meetings, but I believe Keisha answered it.
Yes, the Cork app. You'll see all the upcoming Friday events for the first year experience is also posted on the Cork app. You'll find that also in your Canvas Friday social hours link, and we'll be blasting it on the Molloy Arts and Science Instagram page. So if you're not following us, join us. What is it at? We could put that in the chat, Liz, if you want to do that. We'll list all the events that are going on and the Cork app as well.
Yes,
And the club fair is coming up too. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. If I could just add, Dr. Cutter, the
Yes.
life.molloy.edu and the Cork app run on the same system. So if you're RSVPing for an event on life.molloy.edu or the Cork app, it goes on both of them at the same time. So you don't have to worry that you're like missing it on one place or the other. If you're looking at both, you're up to speed.
I'm always mindful of time, so I'm grateful that you can join us today, and I will stay on if you have additional questions. In addition, you can find the first year experience. We are located in Sienna 106, so you're always welcome. My door is always open. I love having some coffee with students, so feel free to bring your own cup and we can have any conversations that you think we need to have. And with your instructors as well, you'll find everybody in this community is really here to support you. With that, have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoy it. I know we're all tired, so hopefully get some extra sleep in this weekend. I will hang out for a minute or so, or 5 or 10, whatever is needed. But otherwise, thank you again for joining us, and join us every Friday from 2 to 3 on Zoom. We'll be blasting those links out to you. Take care, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day now.
I love you.
Thank you.